this is Tracey Brock from Real 101. We are welcome you for coming out and listening again, and we'd like to welcome Matthias Gruenwald, and I think I got that wrong, but I'm sorry. And thank you for being here. If you could just give us a quick little introduction, that would be awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Tracy. Thanks for having me. So yeah, I'm Matthias Gruenwald, and I think you said the name pretty well. Most of the people butcher it
Yes.
much worse, so don't worry about it. Originally born and raised in Germany, husband and father of one, but moved to the US in 2012 for my W-2 back then. I was a chief operating officer for a global manufacturing company. So I was responsible for all the North American operations in Detroit, Michigan, in Greenville, South Carolina, and also Monterrey, Mexico. And at that time, I was based in Greenville, South Carolina, but these days I live in Tampa, Florida. Since I do real estate full time, I can live wherever I want, and we chose Tampa. And so we
Nice.
moved here at some point. So yeah, I was a chief operating officer for a long time, and then at some point I just decided, you know what, I want to build my own balance sheet and not somebody else's. I was really good at something I didn't enjoy at my W-2. It was a good time. I enjoyed where I was for a long time. At some point, I just felt like there's something missing, and I had a spark fire in me that I wanted to satisfy. And then we started a real estate hustle on the side with buying a duplex in 2022. When we closed on our first duplex, and then from there really was our gateway drug into real estate, and then do another a fourplex in 2023, and then go into commercial real estate late in 2023. And now today, as the day of the recording, in March 2026, we are at 1,100 units and about $45 million assets under management. And we buy primarily mobile home parks right now in the Southeast.
Oh, that's great. So, would you say that the defining moment in 2023 was buying that second property?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Really, the pivotal moment was like buying the first one because the law of the first deal is really something that's powerful because you can prove to yourself you can do it. And then like buying the second one that you know you can do it again is really very important and essential for the growth trajectory. And every time like a deal was done, like the duplex and then the fourplex, I was a little bit terrified because oh my God, now it's twice as big as a duplex. You know, it's 4 units now, not just
Yeah.
two. Then you have six, and then the next deal was like, yeah, a 26 unit. Terrified again, you know what I mean? But yeah, the bar raises every time you're buying a bigger property. And then we bought a 100 unit, which was a mobile home park portfolio, and then a 135 unit. And right now we're buying almost a 300 units, like 283 units at a time. And the numbers just get bigger. There's more decimal points, and you're actually realizing the bigger deals are actually much easier to manage than the small ones.
Okay.
Actually, I enjoy the bigger ones more than the small ones these days, to be quite honest. So, so yeah,
Good.
that's definitely a
That's
pivotal
good
moment.
then.
Yeah.
You're in the right trajectory. So, your experience as a COO or CEO in the automotive manufacturing industry, how did that shape and operate how you scale your mobile home parks today?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's mainly everything is KPI driven in automotive, and I apply the same principles in real estate. So everything that we're doing has a KPI attached to it. So in automotive, it's very fast paced and also high stake environment. So we were a supplier for the big manufacturers like General Motors, Ford, Chrysler, all these guys, BMW mainly for us. That's why I moved from Germany to the US because they have a big facility in South Carolina. And everything is there's like a very thin line of margin that you have for errors because if you shut a manufacturer down of that size, they usually charge you back $3,000 to $3,500 a minute penalty per minute. So basically, if you shut the supply chain down for a day, you can actually cripple the company that you're working for as a smaller supplier. We were a
Yeah.
mid-sized supplier. We're not small. We're not large either. But those penalties can be really damaging to the company. And the reason why they're doing this is they have a lot of overheads, and if you have to send 8,000 people home to the manufacturing facility at the assembly line, it's very damaging to their payroll, so to speak. They want to keep the people paid. So that means we
Hmm.
had tons of KPIs for anything that you can imagine, like the manufacturing KPIs and also logistical KPIs and inventory KPIs, etc. There were 100 plus KPIs that we looked at. So in the real estate world, we don't have that many, but I use the
Yeah.
same principle to apply those in the real estate world. So our back office, we call them, which is our property management company that we have internally as a vertically integrated company. They report twice a day the KPIs, the main ones in like one snapshot, basically, like the collections, delinquencies, total income, and then also broken it out by like portfolios because we have different regions with different portfolio clusters. So we can kind of see where things are heading, where they're trending. And then usually we have 2 times a week a meeting where we dive even deeper on like leasing metrics, maintenance metrics, and looking at like lead to application conversion, application to lease conversions, and all those KPIs. So we know what works well in this market, what doesn't work well in that market. So extremely KPI driven. That's what I mainly took from that automotive world to real estate.
Okay, so then I guess that would be the systems and the operational frameworks that you use to implement to ensure this everything performs consistently and keeps going on from time to time. Cool.
Exactly right. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. What similarities did you discover between running high efficiency factory and optimizing undervalued real estate assets?
There's always room for improvement. So in
Okay.
automotive, there's a Kaizen process, which is Japanese for like continuous improvement process. So it never ends. And it's the same thing in real estate. If it's distressed, it's actually pretty easy to provide value because if it's distressed, there's probably some low-hanging fruit. But then even if you have it somewhat stabilized, there's still more you can get out of it by continuously improving it, whatever it is. The low-hanging fruit usually if you buy distressed properties is they're usually under market rents, they have high vacancy, etc. Those are low-hanging fruits. So you just really keep a close eye on collections, get the bad apples out. Non-paying tenants have to get evicted, unfortunately, and have to get out. Then replace them with really good tenants, qualified tenants, etc. And then you slowly see those KPIs move in the right direction. I think this is where you mainly can drive the value on these assets. And I think there's always room for improvement with continuous improvement process, which we use in automotive all the time because we continuously had to improve to, stay competitive to our competitors, but also be competitive to the actual manufacturer we supply to because they have pricing targets for their vehicles. If your product is too expensive, that drives the price of the final product up. And they have, let's call it 3 to 4 thousand components on one vehicle, and everybody, has price increases coming in. They can really compound to several $1,000s vehicle increase or vehicle prices, right? So that causes them to be not competitive to their competitors. So everything compounds, especially in automotive, with so much high volume and a high volume environment. And it is not as critical in like real estate, but if you use the same principles that I learned in automotive to real estate, it makes it easier to be successful because you see the details much easier because we had so many details I had to look at in automotive compared to real estate. And in real estate, there's a lot of variables. I don't want to say it's easy, but it's simpler. It's more simple than running a global automotive company.
Well, I think that especially nowadays, you can say that real estate really does get influenced by the hypes and the trends that are happening. So, how do you stay committed to the fundamentals in the process in this world of influence real estate?
Oh yeah, especially real estate. You have the shiny object syndrome, right? It's always trying to
Yeah,
nibble on you. So yeah, for us, we stay disciplined to what we want to buy. We only look at mobile home parks in the southeast. If there is a apartment complex in the northeast, we're not even gonna look at it. Even if it's a mobile home park in the northeast, we're not gonna look at it. It's a mobile home park in the southeast that has no lagoons, no wastewater treatment plants. It has to be either city water, city sewer, or septic tanks we allow in our buy box. It has to be a certain population size, 50,000 people plus in the metro, in the MSA. We go smaller for exceptions if there's a lot of tenant-owned homes, meaning the homes are owned by the tenants only and we don't own the homes. So we
yeah,
basically just leasing out the land so we can make exceptions there and go a little bit smaller on size. But we have a really tight buy box. And so we're looking at the trends, obviously. And what we're seeing right now, affordable housing is continuing to be an issue and it's not going to be fixed
yes.
tomorrow. And we in the best asset class we were providing affordable housing. So if people are downgrading their lifestyle, some are always downgrading into a mobile home park at some point, wherever they're coming from a single family house they can't afford, or from an apartment complex with a tons of amenities that might downgrade to a mobile home park. And
Yeah.
there's mobile home parks and there's trailer parks, right? Same with apartments. There's good apartments, there's bad apartments. So, but there's really nice mobile home parks out there. I'm trying to say with this because some of them have major amenities. There's gated communities out there, mobile home parks with pools and security on site, etc. Like they're like Class A apartments, right? There's really nice homes out there in really nice communities and nice areas and stuff like that. So it's not like the typical, trailer park you see like in movies or they have that's why I have a bad stigma sometimes because you think of trailer parks being a little bit run down.
Yeah.
But it helps also keep the competition out buying them, if that makes sense. And we love
Yeah.
it. We love it because it keeps the competition out and we can focus on the asset class we know really well and we know it solves a big issue in the country with the affordability. So yeah, we love it. We enjoy it through and through because it has a meaningful impact.
Would you say the key operational red flags would be during your due diligence when you're looking at the home park acquisition?
The main one really with mobile home parks, you still have a lot of mom and pop operators that own them. So you have to really be careful, like looking at the financials very clearly and also look at like bank statements very clearly and compare and reconcile them precisely. Because we have stumbled over properties where they were mom and pop operated, but everything ran through their personal bank accounts and they got a lot of like cash rent payments. Nothing is traceable. that means you don't know how much that park makes every month. So it's very dangerous. You have to really understand what's exactly going on. Those are the red flags where we would say, okay, the income doesn't align to what was advertised and it's wildly off. We back out of the deal. Anything that's major infrastructure issues, especially with sewer lines and stuff like that, there could be an issue there, like materials of sewer lines. Could be an issue, especially like in some areas in the south, there's still, terracotta lines, clay pipes, in other words, being used. They can be problematic because they only have a lifespan of like 50 years, and many of them have been used, 50 plus years ago, so many of them deteriorating. And they've also been put together in sections, and those sections can break very easily, and they can create all kinds of like leakage, so to speak, which attracts roots to come into the area and break in the pipes. So it's a compounding issue with the clay pipes, stuff like that. We keep a very close eye on. If that's too much of a project, we back out of it. But we usually get the information before we even get on a contract, what the infrastructure situation looks like. And we would take on the park that has those sewer lines, for example. We make it a CapEx project to replace them over time or to go in right away and replace them all as like a value add. But those are the main due diligence factors where we usually back out of. Another one is if we buy park on homes, we need the titles because they're titled like a vehicle. It's you go to DMV and you have a title like it has a VIN number on it. It looks like a title for your car you drive in. If you don't have those titles, you cannot put a lien on it, or the lender can, so the lender won't lend on those park on homes, which gives you much lower loan to value loan proceeds. So if the titles are missing, which happens a lot if you buy mom and pop operated mobile home parks, big red flag too, because we cannot get any lending on those. On the park itself, yes, but not on the homes. So that's reduce our leverage too much where the deal doesn't make sense anymore, where we have to raise too much capital. So those are the three big ones where kill the deal pretty quickly.
Sort of the biggest operational challenge you feel while scaling WCG to a 16 mobile home park?
The biggest challenge is really for us, like the deal's getting bigger and bigger, just to stay close to the residents while you're scaling and building the team and stay true to the residents and serve them well while you're handling a lot of volume. I think is the biggest challenge because we're trying to be like very caring for the residents that we have. I believe we really do a really good job of that. But as you're getting bigger and bigger, you kind of zooming out as like the owner, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you have so many. When you get started in the business, you know everybody's name. I still know all the names from my first couple rental properties, like the duplex, the fourplex. I know all the people's tenants' names. On all the mobile home parks we own, I don't because there's over 1,000 tenants. I don't know
Yeah.
everybody's name. So you lose
That'd
that
be a good
personal
memory.
touch. Yeah, exactly. You're losing that personal touch, but your team has that personal touch, and we want to have that culture implemented in the property management company. They have that personal touch to the people, and we have community managers. They live on site and they take care of people. We want to portray that from ownership down to like on site, boots on the ground management. That we care for the residents. And of course, you're not gonna make everybody happy. I mean, I'm not gonna say everything is like unicorn and rainbows. It's real estate. Some people are pissed off because they like to be pissed off. It's how it is, and you try to serve them as well as others too. There's no double standards, but we cannot make everybody happy. But we do our best to serve our residents really, really well. So that's a standard of ours.
Well, it does seem like you would obviously lose that personal touch, but it's good that you have a team in place that's going to be, you know, trying to keep it there anyways. And just the principles always help to make people feel like there's things that are happening and make them feel important because it's true when you're dealing with any community, whether it be in this or in a factory for that matter, and that you want the people to know that you're listening and you care. So that's good you guys do that. So, with
Right.
regards to your leadership and your team execution, how do you align people and processes and prioritize those across your portfolio?
Oh yeah, it's really important when you onboard new people that they understand what the core values are and our standards. So everything is documented to the T. Like everybody that goes into in our ecosystem and that gets hired, I do the same process I did in automotive. Everybody has an onboarding training for the first day where we just talk about what's our vision, what are our goals. They get immediately aligned of what we're trying to build and what we stand for. And our core values is one of the first things we talk about because, we want to make sure we do everything very ethically. And yeah, within regulatory guidelines, right? We don't do anything shady. We don't do anything illegal. We want to serve our residents well. We all want to make money. That's why we're in the business. We get it, but we do it in the right way. And the right way is, when nobody's watching, and you still do the right thing, then we have the right core values in place. So that's how we get everybody on board. And every process is very well documented with SOPs, like standard procedures. Depends who gets hired. They have different sets of SOPs they have to go through. And then
Yep.
we usually, after we go for the core values and our mission statement and our vision and our business plan, we go through each individual SOPs for that department so that immediately understand what operating systems we're using, how our meeting structure looks like, and everything is copy paste. It's just everybody has like their own subject expert. There might be like this person does leasing, this person does maintenance, etc. So they have their own little world that they're working in, but they still using the same core values, and we building the same culture that applies to everybody. Obviously, and we're using the same EOS system, the same property management system. Everybody works in the same ecosystem within their own set of like tools they're using. Not tools, but basically the process they're using, whatever subject matter they're working on. So that builds like this really nice, culture around everything. And it makes it also easy when you interview people. It's almost not as important as having somebody with the right skill sets than with somebody that has just the right mindset and the right attitude, because you can teach skills and everybody does, run their business their own way a little bit anyway. There's this framework how you're supposed to run a business, but everybody has a little nuances to it. So if you get some of the right mindset and right attitude, they have some experience, understand the industry a little bit, you can teach the rest. And it's much more important if they have the right attitude and the right mindset in the first place. So from our experience, if you have that really good culture, and I noticed that already, if you would do a wrong hire, which we all have done before, and we did that included, the culture will spit them out. Like, meaning, what I mean with spit them out is like if you hire the wrong person, they won't survive within that culture you already built, because they're not gonna pick on that person, that they're gonna quit, but they're gonna be like, I think Steve over there, I think he's doing it a little bit wrong on purpose. They're calling them out like whistleblowing basically, and which is what you want. Like, they're protecting the ecosystem that you build. And sometimes you cannot look through that facade if you interview somebody. And then this works really well for us with like the family that you're building almost, and we always call it a family jokingly.
I was going to
Also
actually
feels,
say that it sounds like a
yeah,
family environment of consistent habits
exactly.
and consistent ways of doing things, and keeping everybody together and making sure everybody has a say and has an input. So that's a really good
Yeah.
mindset and a great way of doing it for sure. So I was looking on your Instagram and I noticed that you like to do marathons. So how would you say, as a long distance runner, how does that influence your mindset and your long-term investing about building businesses?
Oh wow, that's a good question. Well, if you want to run a marathon, you're not gonna just stumble into it. And it's the same when you do syndications in real estate. You're not gonna just start with syndications. You're also not gonna start with a marathon right away. So for the audience, a marathon is 26.2 miles. And if you never ran before, you're not gonna just run 26.2 miles tomorrow. I mean, you can probably walk them, but running, not so much. You have to build a training plan, and same as you build a business plan, you have to put a plan in place and then stick to the plan consistently. And it takes you a while to get to that, fitness level, or to that, business acumen until you can execute on your plan. And then the same as with business and running, like you achieve that goal, and then you ask, what's next? I got to 1,000 units. Okay, what's next? Let's go to 2,000 units. I ran marathons, and now I'm running an ultra marathon in November this year, which will be my first ultra, which is a 50K, so 31.1 miles. So, and then my goal is to go to a 100-mile endurance race, which is a big goal. I don't necessarily know exactly when I'm going to be achieving that, but I know the framework, right? More mileage, more training, really focus on nutrition, good sleep quality, etc. All those things, and it's all KPIs. I have my watch, keeping me, in check with my sleep quality and with my training and rest
Yeah.
time. That's also very important. And the same goes in business. It's all a framework that you're building. You have an input and you have an output. So if you know what builds the business, what fuels the business, to buy more deals, you need lead flow, you need to have capital, etc. And then if you get those deals, how do you operate those deals? You need that a very strong back office team that can run operationally, can run those deals. And if you just know what you have to input to get the output, it's really just rinse and repeat, but you have to have consistency. So, and that's what I think about business and marathon running seems so different, but it's so very aligned. Without consistency, you won't be able to do both successfully.
No, I agree with that for sure. Well, I'm a big advocate of work-life balance in my own personal career as well as in my life. My family is very important to me. And I mean, you mentioned you wanted more freedom and time with your growing family, and that was one of the reasons why you had started into this entrepreneurship. How has the entrepreneurship changed your daily life compared to your corporate career?
Oh man, that changed so much because when we got started, like with my W-2, I was constantly traveling. When we opened up the first facility in Detroit, Michigan, I was flying up there like every week, every two weeks, like for a week. So I was barely home. I didn't have kids at that time. But when we
Okay.
decided, okay, we want to have our first child, that was the same time we talked about, okay, how do I get out of this corporate life? Because I want to be there when he grows up or she grows up. But then we said, okay, we want to build our own balance sheet. We want to have the time free. That was like the thing that we want to do. That was all like the core goal. And I was around COVID and everything slowed down, even for our W-2. And I was putting into literally into Google, like, how do the rich get rich? How do the wealthy get wealthy? And real estate was always like on top of the list, how people do it. And I did more research on it, read books, etc. And the rest is history. But now it's like total freedom. I love it. Right now, I mean, it's been over a year, almost a year and a half. I'm out on my W-2 completely and do full-time real estate. And I'll absolutely love the freedom and flexibility. If I say I want to just take a month off, I can.
Yep.
I still, as an entrepreneur, you're always like on anyway, and you have your phone, you're always connected, you can jump in, but it doesn't feel like work to me. Sometimes, of course, there's bad days and there's problem solving and stuff like that, of course, and some days they kick you in the teeth. It's totally fine. But I wouldn't want to have it any other way because I know I'm building something great if it's challenging. But I have ultimately the freedom. And literally, while we record this podcast, I can hear my son playing in the background. I enjoy that a
That's
lot. Just
nice.
hearing him being out there and playing, and I can just go out and just do lunch with him, together, which we did earlier. We just all did lunch together. I couldn't have done that with W2 because I was sitting in the office 30 minutes away from home. So we always saw each other like in the evening. Now I see my family all the time and I dip out of the office and I can have some really nice balance with them. And my commute is basically just like, 4 yards and stumble over maybe over a cat or two. That's in the way. There's not much traffic on the way home, if that makes
Oh.
sense, or the home office. And I enjoy that a
Yeah.
lot. I enjoy it a lot. And I have great partners too that step in if needed. If I want to, take a break. I have family coming in 2 weeks from now from Germany, and they know I'm not gonna be online much for 2 weeks because I'm gonna enjoy family. And there's no
Mhm.
approval process or nothing. We all got each other's back. Like our other partner just been with family the last 2 weeks, and we cover for them. It's beautiful because everybody has the
Mhm.
same core values. The family that we built, and just ultimately that time freedom. That's exactly why I did it. The money is great, but it's a tool. That money buys you freedom. And that's all great, but like just being there and being there with my son. He's 4 years old now. I can't believe I say he's 4 years old. It feels like he was just born last year. But just being there, see him growing up like all the time is amazing. I wouldn't change it for anything in the world.
Yeah, and I think you did a good job with your structures and your building of your business and your community to allow you to do that too, because you hired the right people so you can trust them, right? So that's great too.
Exactly
Well, I
right.
want to thank you so much for coming out today and speaking with us. I want to remind all our viewers to follow Matthias on his socials as well as follow Real 101 on our socials. You can reach Matthias. We will put his information with regards to his social media stuff on our post for us. And yeah, just thank you for coming out. Was there any other last comments you wanted to make or anything else you'd like the audience to know?
Yeah, if anybody needs any support on how to get started in real estate or if they have questions how I do things in mobile home parks, I'm not gonna charge anything. Just feel free to reach out on social media and ask questions. I'd love to help people. I know how it feels if you get started. It can be a little bit terrifying. And I hope I can at least eliminate or reduce the fear a little bit for people how to get started in this real estate world because it's such an amazing tool machine that you can build right there. And would love to share my wisdom that I collected the last couple of years and also the failures and the challenges that we overcame while building WCG Investments. So feel free to reach out. No strings attached. Just love to help people.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Have a great day. And thank you, everyone. This is Tracy Brock from Real 101, and we look forward to speaking with you again. Bye.
Thanks, Tracy.